Up here in Fairbanks, Alaska, if you're looking for gold mining equipment, well, obviously you go to Pro Music. Makes sense. Just picked up this 5-inch dredge hose here, and they've got all sorts of gold mining equipment in there. Pretty cool place to check out. So I figure, hey, why not start off the adventure right here? Alaskan blueberries, just absolutely everywhere. So I'm looking forward to eating this. Welcome to Alaska, everybody. We're out here in essentially the middle of nowhere. Views just keep on going. We all have a big handful of wild blueberries, and you may see off in the distance there's a hovercraft that we're about to take upriver to go gold dredging. Yep. So my name is Kyle, and I'll just quickly let everyone introduce themselves.
I'm Andrew. I'm Kason. I'm Zach.
And we'll be seeing a lot more of everybody for the next 2 weeks here, gold dredging in Alaska. So we've arrived safely at the river and just unloading most of the weight out of the hovercraft before we back it into the water. Then we'll load up everything probably in 4 or 5 different trips and ferry everything up to the gold claim.
Fix a couple. Yeah, I think they popped off. They probably snagged that bar.
All right.
That's what they do.
I like how they're all separate.
They're zip ties, yeah.
So it's like you can lose a couple and it's still just...
Oh, no, not really. It'll do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're separate is nice because you can repair them, because I got extras.
Yeah, easy to repair, I guess.
The zip tie, it didn't tear the thing, it just broke the zip tie likely.
All right.
So.
Well, this thing's pretty wicked.
All right.
Replaced one person with 4 gas cans. Trying to get over that bow wave. Looks like it's trying to pick up. Oh yeah. Little slow to get going, but it looks like they're going to make that just fine now. That thing rips. Yeah. So after that, Zach can just take gear and no other humans. So you should be able to load up a fair bit of this. I'm not sure if it'll be 1 or 2 more trips, but on trip 2 or 3, I get to go up to camp. That's full of 12 gallons of gasoline. A little bit more fuel to load up. Probably another solo trip. And then I'll get to follow up on the next one. But a little 6-inch dredge downstream. A single cylinder Honda. And this is an 18 horsepower V-twin, which I think is like 85 pounds or something, like without a pump on it. Looks like it's at a bit of an angle mounted there, but yeah, keen 6-inch box. Yeah, you get your little venturi there. This is your hose. Guy's got a plate carrier there along with his weight belt, so I'm sure that just adds a little extra weight and, you know, defends you from claim jumpers. But serious pump on that thing. And then what I think is really cool is the exhaust system goes into this ammo box, and that's where you've got like your water comes out through a little filter and then the water goes into there. So that's his hot water system in that ammo box. Not my dredge, so I don't want to go over there and like open that up and actually look inside, but pretty cool little system. This thing must like really suck powerfully with that size engine on it. Have a little bit of a quiet moment here. It is currently 9 p.m. in Alaska. The sun doesn't actually set till about 10:30, but anyone who's run a skinny river in a jet boat that isn't like totally bomb-proof, you get a little bit nervous running around dusk. So the bonus is Zach will have had an opportunity to run, I guess there's some rapids up there that I haven't seen in person yet, but he will have had a chance to run those several times. So even though the light is sort of waning, he'll have an ability to, you know, kind of know the right line. I've just moved down the last, I think this will be the last trip that he does solo of gear, and then I should be able to hop in on the next trip up. So it'll probably be closer to 10 o'clock by the time we actually get me to camp. We did discuss, like, if something went wrong with the hovercraft kind of thing, they can stay up there at camp, and there's like just a small community. Got a dredge right here. There's actually another dredge just down there, so I'll be all right here. Yeah, it's peaceful. It's been a full day's travel to get here, and I'm definitely tired based on my body clock coming from Australia. I mean, it's late, but yeah, just having a moment by myself here. Got everything kind of packed up and ready, and I just got to sort of sit and have the first sort of take it all in moment where nothing's happening, and yeah, just I'm here to mine gold and do stuff. So when I have a little quiet moment to reflect to camera, I guess that's how I will do it here at Utmost Outdoors. Yeah, should be back any minute. We'll load up the last of the gear, and hopefully there's enough light I can get you a good shot of the rapids, at which point it'll probably be a night. Well driven, Zach.
All right, that was good.
I don't know if this camera is going to be covered in water or not, but
know.
there's some exciting claim to be looked at on the ride, and hovercraft's wet but awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
All right. It's a little past 10 p.m. at this point, so bedtime.
Yep.
Morning, everybody. Probably got to bed last night around midnight, and it's currently 9 a.m. So we're just about to head up and have some breakfast. I just came down here, brushed my teeth. I'll give you a real quick claim tour just up to where we eat, But yeah, after we eat, we'll go have a look at the dredge, and should be an interesting first day. I'm told I can take a handful of any of this gravel around here, and there's little bits of gold in it, so maybe I'll have to do a pan of gold right after breakfast. As we're coming in here, there's a creek. So right here, this is always nice cold water. And so as far as coolers go, you know, we put some ice in the coolers, but check this out as we come around the bend here. You basically just store some coolers right there in the water, and I guess that keeps things cold for weeks out here, just because that water is like really cold. Last night, I guess I wasn't fully dressed like for my sleep system. Got down to about 40 degrees, whatever that means in Fahrenheit. So it was a little bit chilly, but yeah, by 9 a.m. plenty comfortable. This is just because I was a little chilly from sleep, and I'm about to probably get down to a light jacket and then a t-shirt by the mid-afternoon. Got a little Starlink set up here, and a very well appointed little area with some chairs, a little place to cook, and I guess it's like a bear fence, a little electric fence they run overnight for a little more peace of mind. Guess I'm the only coffee drinker here. This stuff does pack quite a punch. And as far as instant coffee goes, it's pretty good. I'll take it. That is nice. Zach made some egg wraps for breakfast. There's Andrew enjoying some water. Kason, what are we up to today?
As soon as I finish my breakfast, we're gonna work on the dredge.
So that beast back there is the 8-inch dredge, and we're just spending the first half of the first day cutting some expanded metal, made a few adjustments. It is a wooden box, which is really cool, sort of experimenting with some stuff that will be worked on next year. But yeah, I'm just gonna cut these strips and we'll set them in the box, and should be in the water shortly. Nice anchor point on the tree up here. Synthetic winch line, which is always nice to work with. Over here, looks like some old pontoons. That, I believe, was the original sluice for the 8-inch. And down here is our little science experiment. We haven't put the grizzly bars on just yet, but the idea is to classify material and have a little bit of a classified wider sluice underneath. I'm really interested how this thing runs. It's gonna be kind of cool if it gets dialed. I think it has potential. And I came up here to get some weight belts because we're looking to get in the water soon. And this is a very large piece of lead. Oh yeah, that's a two-hand job. And there you have it. Dredge is floating. Just getting it ready to be fired up. It's a pretty cool dredge. I'll show it to you more while it's running, but it's got a hot water system, air system, pretty powerful pump, and yeah, even with all the lift required to test this sort of fine gold design, it still has suction, so pretty cool setup. So at this point there's a stake you can see in the water right there, and there's a winch on the front of the dredge that's connected to the base of that stake, and we've got another rope, just a line coming into shore here, and because of the angle of everything, it's just needs a little deeper water to get that suction hose installed. But it's pretty sweet because they can just reel that winch in and it sort of pulls them out and up, and it doesn't tug on you too hard, but like for one person pulling on the rope, like it's a big machine, right? So it's nice that we have a group of us out here and all the lines to keep her steady. Yeah, this is the final part.
Thing sounds like a tractor. That's awesome.
Suited up, ready to go. Do you have any final words, Zach? Man, a few words.
Go.
So in the river, it's always a little bit slippery and you can't really see where your feet are. And that is a deceivingly large amount of weight too. So it's kind of like you're carrying a massive backpack wandering around until you're actually floating in the river. It's just super awkward moving around. This is just barely ticking over there, so we'll have a better look at how the flows are in a minute, but gotta get masked up, get the hot water hooked in. Bit of a dreary day today. It's actually raining right now. But we're all excited to see the first material go through the box. You'll notice the dredge is tipped slightly forwards right now. I think that should level out when we throttle up and weight the box. But that's always something you got to sort out if you've just changed something. Looks like he's breathing on air now. Mask is all set up. Just adjusting those weight belts. At this point, every crew kind of has their own hand signals, and you know, you gesture at something, and hopefully if everyone's on the same page, you know, you point at something and point up, and then, oh yeah, that means throttle up, or because you really can't communicate. We don't have any radios in these masks or anything. So I'm just gonna pay as good of attention as I can. I'll be probably staying dry today and sort of observing how everyone's doing everything, and then tomorrow will be my turn. Alright, I'm going to give you a quick running tour of this dredge. Apologize in advance for the audio. I'm just filming on a cell phone, and we'll be right next to an engine without a great exhaust. It actually looks like it should be capturing fine gold fairly well in the lower box. It's obviously running really hot, but keep in mind, a standard dredge, no classification. So this has classification and a wider box. When we shut down, I'd like to see maybe a little bit more material behind the expanded, but it looks like it should be holding gold. But for now, I'll give you a quick tour of the dredge running, and hopefully you can hear me. So I'm going to be walking out here. It's a little bit slippery as you walk, and it does get fairly deep out there. But that's why I have my wetsuit on. So with any luck, I make it out in one piece and we don't get my phone wet. I'm not even diving today. I just have the wetsuit on because I want to be able to get out here and I was helping put some spikes in upriver. That's the first thing to point out. You can just barely see a little foam buoy up there. And where is it? Like that, right there. There's a spike we drove into the bottom of the river there. And that's what's holding the dredge right now. So that's air compressor, pump, hot water. That's a hot water tank, that's an air tank. Now this has been running for a while, and it's clearing rocks quite nicely out the back of the dredge. And then while there is water missing, there's more missing on this side than that side, and it's just the box needs to be racked over that way. But the lower boxes, let me go to the other side of the dredge where there might be a little less engine noise. So this lower box, I'll show you when we shut down, but it's holding material, and the water level is actually like even with the top right here. When we shut down, it lifts up quite a bit. But you'll see this actually looks like it's running quite nicely. This pink foam here, these are extra pieces just to add flotation. A lot of lift. This hot water. And the reason this is raised right to the top is in case there's a steam bubble, that'll all escape here and not go to the diver. And that's just a tote full of rocks. So rocks here, engine there. Well, I'm standing on some tailings right here. It's a little hard to see because the water's a bit murky, but yeah, when you're walking out to the dredge, there's these deeper sections and these shallower sections. Fair bit of current. Hopefully you can start hearing me a little better as I get away from that engine. The hot water system basically replaces a muffler with a little, I don't know, not the greatest looking thing, but it is a heat exchanger. I always try to keep a muffler on my dredges. The quieter I can get, the better. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you're in the water, it doesn't really matter. There it is, a very unique 8-inch dredge, and like, I think it's really cool that somebody's experimenting and trying new things at this scale. Because I've played around with little 3-inch dredges. Oh, let's try something totally different. This is an 8-inch dredge. Go big or go home. And it is working. When we do the cleanout, it'll be really interesting to see what that top box is doing versus the bottom box. And despite what you might think, that top box is actually holding on to a lot of gold. It's doing a really good job. Alright, engine's off. Found a little flake of gold in there already. Give you a little tour while it's quiet.
First, we gotta hike out. Oh, a little bit slippery, a little bit of current. They're priming the foot valve. Basically, there has to be water at that pump, and then it can sort of suck the rest up. So they're getting that primed, and if I can get in here quickly before they fire it up.
So if we look in here, you can see the miner's moss. So there's sort of like a good amount of material in miner's moss, and it's underneath the screen. This screen, double screen. Drop down into here.
Rainstorm just came through. Gold at the end of the rainbow. It's just a little view up from camp. The dredge is running, and get a little Starlink down here with some solar panels. A little cleanup area over there.
Good morning from Alaska, everybody. So last night, two of the guys stayed up till 10:30 running the dredge. We get a lot of daylight out here. Zach and I went to bed a little bit earlier, and we woke up at 6 a.m. this morning. We did a bit of a clean out here, and I'm running the clean out. Zach's running the dredge. Looks like it's running nicely.
There's visible gold in the top and the bottom box. Yesterday we had a total of 9 hours on the nozzle. So we're hoping for about a half an ounce of gold based on the type of stuff we're getting here, but maybe the lower box is working better than the last time he was out. He was having some troubles with it. But yeah, I've got the utmost adventure out here. I guess when you do a full clean out, you get quite a lot of concentrates out of it. So I've got this set up with just a single level in it so that we concentrate it down more. And I put a kink in the hose just so that we're running nice slow water. And I'm just feeding it right now while Zach's running, so we can concentrate everything right down here before we bring it back to running the final cleanup sluice. And it's working pretty good. It's kind of handy having a nice light. I mean, this is not a 6-inch ultra light high banker. It's a workhorse designed to be shoveled into by multiple people, but it wasn't a problem carrying it down here. Weighs 35 pounds. So here's what I'm doing. On camera, this always looks faster than it is. The bubbles, like, you don't get floating gold so long as it's actually like buried into it. You'll get floating gold when it's in a pan and it gets dry and touches the edge. But if you follow these down, like, it's quite low energy, and you can see my finger. There's just a little bit of water flow in there. Looking good behind the ripples. So I don't have a spoon or a scoop. I'm sure they have one here, but I've just been kind of shoveling it in like this. You got to give it time to breathe because we are dealing with concentrates, not bank run material. And the way I've set up the spray bars is so it kind of sprays into the back and then comes down the middle. So I'm doing my best to just keep everything real low energy like this. See if there's any gold at the back edge of this pan. There you go. So a couple small flakes, good big flake there. So we are feeding it pay, and I've got what we did today. I guess cleaning out the bottom boxes was a bit of a hassle before. It actually wasn't too bad today. But what we did is we cleaned out a single one of, like, there's 4 parallel 12-inch sluices for the bottom box, and one of those I put into this tub. I've already processed a lot of it. The top box, which is where they were capturing about 90% last time, is right in this. So there's quite a, like, it's a heavy amount of material. But what we did is we processed just one of the 4 bottom boxes just to see how it's doing, because it's a little tricky to clean those out right now because it's an experimental setup. But if we're doing good, then tomorrow we'll clean all 4 bottom boxes and the top box, and that'll really make this helpful for carrying just a smaller amount of material back to the final cleanup sluice. Anyways, I'm going to get to it. I'll give you a little update when I shut her down, see if we can see any gold showing in the miner's moss. Oh, we got a picker. For this river, this is a big one. Check this out. So this tub, I mean, we'll normally get more than this if we do a full clean out, and then we turn it into that with a single tray clean out. I never designed this as a clean out system because for me, this is the full size, like, production high banker, and my clean out sluice is a little, 3-inch or 4-inch or 6-inch wide. Like, I really bring it down.
In this case, we're still going to use like a finishing cleanup sluice like that. We'll be using a Gold Hog multi-sluice, which they have back in camp, the rubber mats. But to carry everything back there and just like cut everything down initially, figured why not give this a shot. So I'm just using a single tray, just so there's less concentrates. I've kinked the hose, so we're just running real slow here, but I'm getting all ADD here. I wanted to show you a piece of gold here in the pan. That is thick. Got some character to it. Woo-hoo! I'm gonna run this through the system. We will be testing tailings. I think it's important. Like, I don't want these guys to think I'm losing gold or anything with this thing, and I've never run this as a cleanup sluice, so I trust it as a high banker, but I just don't know the settings, how quickly I can get away with feeding concentrates. You have to feed pure black sand a lot slower than bank run. Anyways, I'm going to keep feeding this. I'll give you an update on the tailings, but it's looking like this is a pretty good setup for an 8-inch dredge cleanup machine. And the built-in screen here, everything here, you can basically just sift through with your fingers. Okay, there's no nuggets in there. You don't even need to pan it. Because this screen is just beautiful to bring stuff down to something that you can then run through the next stage of your cleanup sluice. Anyways, back to it. I kind of just want to put it straight into a snuffer bottle, but we'll see it again. I promise. There you go. Hand panning. That's the good stuff. Curious what happens when I get down to the bottom of this pan. This is going to be some rich material. Look at that, another piece. I don't know if that showed up on camera. Anyways. This is fun. I'm sure I'll get a little mini trowel or something for this next time, but the water's not too cold. Oh look, another piece of gold right there. One more little pan. See if we get a big chunky. I think there's one down between my fingers there. Anyways. This is just silly. Okay, there's another piece of gold. See that guy right there? Yeah. So, there's lots to be had here. Whether or not hand panning works every time. So that pan I was just working on, I kind of, shook it down a little bit as I was feeding it. And here's what was in the very bottom of that pan. And there's all of that to do. Tub's empty. And here's what we got. Oh wow, yeah. That is right where we put it. So, I mean, a lot of black sand mixed in here, but a bunch of chunky stuff. This is all of the oversized, so it sort of screens it for you. And then let's see if there's anything at the top of the bottom box here. There's not a lot of visible gold down here, so it's buried in nicely, which is good to see. I'm not going to do a split like, this is my high banker. Full disclosure, I designed this thing. So normally I test, what did I get here? What did I get there? What did I get there? It always depends. The finer the gold, the more it makes it down to the bottom box to let it do its job. I suspect we're going to get basically most of our gold right here today because it's coming out of an 8-inch dredge. But I'm here just to do a cleanup, so I'm just going to clean this all up at once and I'll show you the pan at the end of it. Alright, I decided to give you an update at the end. I forget exactly where I left off, to be honest. We got 2 cleanouts, and I used just a single tray for each one.
So I left out the top tray and we're just using a single tray. There was 2 cleanups out there, one from the top box, one from the bottom box, and I actually panned out the one from the bottom box. It's the less gold there is, the quicker you can pan it, and there's sort of some strategies where you like back pan and just suck mostly gold but also black sand out, and like you can kind of speed things up, and then at the end you've got a snuffer that's not pure gold, but you can dump that back in and do your final pan. So this is that snuffer, and it looks like maybe a half gram of gold. I don't know if you can actually see what's going on. I don't know if this is gonna focus. Hello? Anyways, there's about a half gram of gold in that snuffer, and this is the amount of gold that you get out of that Utmost Adventurer with a single tray. So I was able to pan that out fairly easily because there was only a half gram of gold in it. What's here is from the top box out there, and that top box is doing well. So there's some good chunky stuff. The other thing to consider, parts of this river may have a ton of fine flour gold up on the banks, but we're pretty much on bedrock. There's about 2 feet of material and bedrock. So for this river, that's like the chunkiest gold you'll find. So the idea that you'll have most of your gold in the top box would be more likely in this scenario than in like a big, fine gold gravel bar. But it's kind of looking like that top box is doing the majority of the work still. That being said, I'm not going to pan out the top box stuff right here, just because we'll use a cleanup sluice for that. And so once that's done, we can put what's in that stuffer into a pan, and everything here, when it's cleaned out, into another pan. We can kind of look side by side and be like, all right, what's the percentages from the dredge? I did on the main box, like the top box, which would be most of the coarse stuff. I came over here. I would argue that like 90% was right here where I put it. I didn't see any in this mat, but I took everything from this and panned it out separately and found like probably 100 really, really small flakes that would add up to almost no weight. So as far as that high banker as a cleanup sluice is concerned, for an 8-inch dredge, at least, that top box, it's holding on to everything. Like, there's nothing in those tailings. So that's kind of a confidence booster for me. I just kinked the hose, ran it real slow, single tray. Obviously, if you had a ton of concentrates, just run double trays and you'll have a little more at the end, but you'll run through them twice as fast. Whew. I think about half an hour, and then it's my turn for my first dive of the trip. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to document much of that because I'll be out there with mask on doing everything, but later on in the trip I'll show you guys me dredging. But from here, I'll go do that, and then when I come back to filming, if something interesting happens, it'll be to show you gold at the cleanup setup that these guys have back at camp. Alright, I did 5 hours for my first dive. It is 6 p.m., or I got out at 6 p.m. Apparently these guys are planning on running till midnight, and I believe they will. So I've got a little waterproof headlamp I'm going to set them up with for the last couple hours. But yeah, first impressions of running an 8 is like heck of a fun time down there. It's really cool, breaking apart all the bedrock and gold mining, obviously. But if I was to sort of come up with an analogy, I'd say with the 4-inch I'm used to, it's more like you controlling the nozzle. Whereas with this 8, it's almost like the nozzle controls you, but like you take advantage of that. So when you put the nozzle somewhere and the water's trying to pull you downriver, you kind of just hug that hose and you stay on the hose, and then you move the hose over, and then that hose is your new safe space. So I strapped a spare weight belt around the nozzle, and I thought that was actually really helpful when the nozzle gets off to the sides, like the water starts trying to take it, and it just sort of anchors it down there real nice, and then it's not like it's hard to lift it and move it. So maybe that's like a new trick that I came up with. That's probably something dredgers use, but I don't know. First time I've heard of it. Yeah, I'm just like on top of the world. Did my first dive on an 8-inch here in Alaska. Life is good. Yeah, I'm gonna go get fed up. I'm not sure if we'll do a clean out tonight or what's going on, but I'll talk to Zach and hopefully show you some gold so I can end this video on a clean out.
all for now. So, while I was dredging, they cleaned up that, just drying that out, that top section. So, the top box with 9 hours on the box is in this pan over here, and I was not expecting this much gold. So we'll do that thing where you take your guesses. Here it is. So my hand for scale, it's like a full-size gold pan, and there's a little bit of black sand in there, which we're about to just totally clean out, and then we will actually get a weight on this tonight. The boys are dredging, so once we clean out all this black sand, we will have to, whether I remember to film this or not, I'll put it on the screen what we get. But like, that's like a lot of gold. When Zach showed me this, he said, you know, the black sand might make it more than it is, but there's not that much in here. And my initial guess, with it all tucked up in the corner, was I'm gonna be confident in saying that's an ounce. Like, it's definitely more than half an ounce. I don't know that it's like, you'd be getting real crazy if that was a lot more than an ounce, but I can never tell. Every pan's different. Unless I've just seen an ounce of gold, I have no idea how to actually judge this, but we'll get really up close here. There it is. It's all pretty chunky stuff. So that's an 8-inch dredge with like a screen on top of number 3 expanded metal, like the 3-pound grading or whatever, on top of backed miner's moss. Same company makes this miner's moss as the stuff in my high banker. Wakula mats. They're great. You should get your mats from them. Not sponsored, but yeah, that is. And there's that one big chunk. Oh, I just buried. I can't believe I buried the chunk under all this other stuff. So come on. Yeah. It's about the biggest stuff we're getting at this river, but made a little thunk. Anyways, make sure my hands are clean. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sort of like backpan this and snuffer out as much of that black sand as I can. It's already been done with a magnet. And I guess this is a perfect opportunity for the algorithm. Comment, and then more people will watch this video. But like, how much is this? If you were to guess, and there's no wrong answers here. Don't worry like if you're way off, because I am always way off. But I guess I will say 9 hours at 3 grams an hour would be really cool. So let's just say 27 grams is my guess. But I'm kind of leaning toward maybe we broke an ounce. Anyways, what do you think? Let me know. Alright, Zach is going to pour it out. I just panned out a little bit more of the black sand. There's still a touch in there, but nothing that's going to affect the scale much. This is the big moment. Yeah, that looks like a good chunk. Couldn't help when I was snuffering it out of the pan. You know, I'd snuffer some out and then I'd look at it and I'm like, that still looks like an ounce. So you never know.
We'll see.
We'll see. Pour it out.
Good.
We'll burn it, or whatever, boil off the water, and then we'll get a dry weight momentarily. Well, I'm either about to be very happy or very embarrassed with my 27 gram guess. Do you wanna say what your guess is?
I don't.
You can just say no.
I'm guessing 21.
21 or 27.
Got some black sand still.
Yeah, that's not gonna add much weight to it. Okay, that's adding up. Okay, I think you're probably more correct than me. You know what? We split the difference there. Look at that.
Yeah, right.
25.5 in 9 hours.
And let's get right up close here, because the close-up is always, let's see if I can, there's the close-up.
Good stuff. We'll take it.
It shows up really nice in the zoomed in. A little bit of black sand sprinkled on the surface, but
Awesome. We'll take that.
alright, well, that is the first cleanup, hopefully, of many.
That's just the top box, actually.
Oh, that's just the top box, so we've still got, because this morning I only cleaned out one of the very side of the bottom 4 boxes.
And that's not here, actually.
And that's not, okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. We're I think if you added up everything in the bottom, it probably wasn't too much right now, but remember there's a drop zone that we never even cleaned up,
Right.
and that usually holds most of what's in the bottom box. So anyways, that's your weight for now.
How long did you go for?
I was only in for like 2 hours, but I'm
2
gonna go back in, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So you're running to midnight tonight?
We're gonna try, man. We're gonna try.
That's amazing. So if they do that, and last night they were out till like 10:30, they're absolute legends. The boys, that will be 15 hours today. Now, we just did a clean out from 9 hours, and what we got here is right between mine and Zach's guess. I guessed 27, Zach guessed 21. We got 25.56. And I'll get
Plus a little nuggets. We can throw those on.
Oh yeah, let's do those. So we hand picked these out earlier. I'm just gonna change to the one-time zoom here.
All right.
Oh wow, so we made 26 with those,
And that's just the top box.
and that's just the top box. And then we cleaned out one of the bottom boxes, and I'm not sure exactly what was in it, but there's 4 of them. And there's the drop zone at the top that we haven't even touched, and that's usually the majority of what's in the bottom anyways. So we're so close to touching 27 now.
Mm-hmm. We definitely got 27 in 9 hours.
Oh, 100% if you actually cleaned out the full box.
Right.
So we're on 3 gram an hour. How do you feel about 3 gram an hour?
Great. I'm glad we're catching it.
Yeah, it's good for your claim, it's good for your dredge.
Yep.
And I'm surprised with the amount of fine gold, considering just how short that top box is, that it's catching. It's phenomenal. We have a few modifications to do to the bottom box, and I mean, we're going to be here for another 6, 7, how many days?
Yeah, 7 or 8 days.
Here before, we start the long journey back home. So this is going to be really exciting to see how it turns out, and I can't believe I was going to say we're close to 3 grams an hour, but I didn't realize that we didn't have all of the gold here. So yeah, we're just over 3 grams an hour. I'm cool with that. That's awesome. Anyways, we'll give you a little pretty scene here. I'm sure the video's been long enough as it is. I did my first 5-hour dive earlier today, and that was pretty cool. So hoping to get back in and do more of that. We'll just up the hours on this box while we have the chance. Next video will be something related to this area, hopefully. I'm sure there's lots to talk about, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, cheers, and thank you for watching, everyone.